Our final day of coverage is the women's 400-meter hurdles. Here is the best to ever do it. First, she has to run in the semifinals. This is Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, the Olympic champ.
And she reminded everybody why she's already the best ever by winning her heat in 53.07. Nobody in the history of this event has ever run faster in the opening round. She owns the trials record as we look at her mom and dad and the rest of her entourage. And there's her husband, Andre. She owns the trials record at 51.90. That's her old record from 3 years ago. And the world record was set in this building 2 years ago at Worlds.
And it wouldn't feel like women's 400 hurdles, Son, if there wasn't Dalilah Muhammad up against Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone.
Yeah, the Olympic champion, world champion, had this to say after her prelim. She had a message for young people, and I'll paraphrase. She said, "Don't let anyone determine your worth." She said, "I got caught up in that too, and when I stopped getting the attention, I thought I wasn't worth it." And that's never the case. She said, you got to do it for you and do it for your love of the sport. And I really love that. She's announced that this will be her final Olympic trials, and she's enjoying every minute of it.
Aaliyah Grosso is in 1. Bianca Stubler is in 2. Robinson Hubbard in 4. And Koviak in 7. Cassandra Tate in 8. And Alira McBride in 9.
I'm going to enjoy this. The last 2 world record holders in the event, and number 1 and number 3 all time. Sydney's going to have to go out fast because she knows Dalilah on the inside is going to come after her.
Top 2 automatically go through to the final tomorrow.
Set.
Let's go. First semi in the women's 400 hurdles. Dalilah Muhammad right there. She's only done 3 races this year so far.
And of course, look at Sydney McLaughlin down the backstretch. Also, Cassandra Tate out in lane 8 is going to set a great pace for Sydney. But man, does Sydney look good already, Otto? We know that she does 14 strides between 2 and 7, which sets her up to really run this race better than anybody else. And she is on a blistering place already in the semifinal.
This race is already over effectively because when you let Sydney McLaughlin get this kind of lead, not that anybody can do anything about it, but it's just a matter now of keeping your eye on the clock and figuring out what lane is she going to be in the final. Yeah, she's that much better than everybody else, Lee.
And it might be a little tougher for Dalilah Muhammad. How close is Cassandra Tate? Tate's making Dalilah work for it, but she should be fine. Watch the clock as Sydney McLaughlin cruises to the line to go straight through to the final. Dalilah Muhammad will make it, and Cassandra Tate will have to wait and rely on time.
That would be the fastest time in the world this year. So Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, ho-hum. Another jaunt around the oval, Sonia. Back off at the end. Nobody's run faster this year.
My goodness, we were just talking about Rochelle Clayton, who ran in the Jamaican trials and ran 52.51, having the second fastest time, a little bit ahead of Sydney. Well, that's gone already with no effort.
So I'm going to ask you what the folks at home are asking. Why is she so fast? How is she so much faster?
You start with bona fide prodigy from high school who can run the 4, the 2, the 1. She can long jump, and then you put her with great coaching both at the University of Kentucky and now Bobby Kersey. Great training partners like a Thing Mo, and this is the result.
I talked to Tanja Buford-Bailey about this event because I too wanted to understand why is she so great, and she said she's revolutionizing the event. She said doing 14 strides between the hurdles, no one has ever been able to do it successfully and run so fast. She just says she is an anomaly, and it's just incredible that we get to call her races because she is so fun to watch compete.
So just to put this time in perspective again, number of women besides Sydney McLaughlin who have run faster than this time, 6 in history, in the history of the event. And that's just the semifinal for her.
And she was, she was well within herself for that. There's confirmation. Let's go trackside with Lewis and hear from Sydney.
All right, Sydney, we're all trying to figure out what were you working on in that dominant semifinal here?
Just focusing on getting out, feeling the backstretch, and getting ready for tomorrow.
And how much focus do you pay attention to step pattern, things like that? Because in the final, I'm assuming you'll attack this at a much greater pace?
Yeah, I mean, this one was really just feeling it out. It was the same pattern as yesterday, or 2 days ago. So tomorrow's will probably be different. Just qualifying through the rounds, and yeah, we'll let it fly tomorrow.
We'll look forward to you letting it fly. Thank you, Sydney.
Thanks.
All right, Paul, over to you. What's happening in the field?
Second of 3 semifinals in the women's 400 hurdles in lane 7. This is Shamir Little.
She earned a silver last season at the World Championships in Budapest after an 8-year drought. She was silver back in 2015. She's been to quite a few World Championships, Otto, but never an Olympic Games. So with all that on the line, she decided to do the double here. She's hoping it will pay off in the final.
A couple of lanes to her inside. This is the youngster, the 22-year-old Rachel Glenn.
Snoop Dogg is long gone, but she's representing for the LBC from Long Beach, California, the NCAA champion in the high jump. But she said, don't ask me to pick which one. It's not challenging for me at all. She's already made the team in the high jump. She said, my genetics allow me to do this. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Did you pick up what Addo said there? Rachel Glenn has already made the team to Paris in the high jump. So this would be to make it in 2 different events to make the final, pardon me. The final is tomorrow. So top 2 go through. Deonka Bunkman is in this. Sydney Townsend, Abby Glynn, Shelby Melvin, Chloe Fair, Dominique Muston, and JC Pulse. Top 2 go through, and there will be 3 time slots for tomorrow's final. Second semi away. Let's keep an eye on Shamir Little because she ran the 400 flat as well.
And she has the best flat speed in the entire field. So not surprising to see third from the left. That's Shamir Little. She went out very hard for the first 100, but now she's dialed it back, and the pack is actually passing her.
Yeah, Sydney Townsend now really setting the pace. And if you keep an eye on lane 5, Rachel Glenn, who also seems to be right in the mix, but nobody really taking charge.
Take a look at Rachel Glenn on the inside there, 5th from the left. Shamir Little in the yellow top is in the lead, but Rachel Glenn's bringing it.
Yeah, it's almost like Shamir got awakened by people pulling up next to her, but now it's just her and Glenn that are clear of the field.
This is very clear cut. Shamir Little, Rachel Glenn, we will see tomorrow in the final. Little wins, but they're both going through regardless. And the 3rd place will rely on time. So Shamir Little in a 53.49.
Very impressive, Sonia.
Yeah, I mean, a really funky race there for Shamir Little. She got out hard.
Yeah.
She backed off on the backstretch, gave a little bit on the turn, and then found something in the final 50 meters. It's not typically how you want to run the 400. So here is Shamir Little. She had given back a little bit to the field here where Glenn was able to make up ground. And then you see Shamir Little respond very well in the final 50 meters. And I always talk about how difficult that is when you already have so much fatigue and lactic acid in your legs to find another gear. However, Lee, the fact that we've talked about that she has so many 400 meters in her legs, what she should have done was gotten out fast and tried to relax coming home to save for tomorrow's final. So we'll see how all these races impact her legs in the final.
Sydney Townsend, who finished 3rd there, she is in the top 3 on time, but there's one more semi still to go. Let's go back to the field with Paul and Trey. Almost set to go for the 3rd and final semi-final in the women's 400 hurdles. Welcome back, Lee Diffie and Olympic medalist Addo Bolden, Sonia Richards-Ross with you. And this is Anna Cockrell, a Tokyo Olympian.
One of only 2 women at the NCAA level to win the 100 hurdles and the 400-meter hurdles. The former USC Trojan was 5th at last year's World Championship final. She made the final in Tokyo at the Olympics and was disqualified.
Who else do we have in here? Lane 6 is Jasmine Jones, the 22-year-old.
Yeah, the other Trojan in the field. She's the NCAA champ on this track just a few weeks ago. And what makes her special is that she has the speed. She won the 60-meter indoor title as well this season. Her NCAA winning time, 53.15, is second only to Sydney McLaughlin-Ravoni in college history. So this is a great field assembled for the final semi of the women's 400-meter hurdles.
And she won her heat as well. So you saw her there getting her fired up. Ashley Spencer, the other Olympian in this field. She starts in lane 1. Simone Watkins, Milan Young, Jessica Wright is in here. Shania Bellamy, Kayla Garrett, and Deshae Wise.
Cockrell and Jones are definitely going to test each other. Their personal bests are very close to each other. 53.15 for Jones, 53.34 for Cockrell. 5 and 6.
Anna Cockrell struggled because she was waiting for the event to get going. She was bursting with energy. She's in the semi now, middle of your screen.
And she had her head down that first 50 meters, and she was all on the gas. She's right up on Jasmine Jones down the backstretch, and that is smart. Get in her pocket and run right with her. Like Otto said, their PRs are so close to each other. It will be the two of them down the home stretch.
She told me earlier this week, there is no box she has not checked in terms of preparation for these Olympic trials. And so far, her and Jones lead the field.
Shania Bellamy running well, but now making up the stagger. Anna Cockrell, Jasmine Jones, clearly the top two in this as they run towards a spot in the final of the women's 400-meter hurdles. Whoa! Jasmine Jones got a little sideways and out of shape there, but still had plenty of advantage as Anna Cockrell comes across in a 52.96.
That's a big personal best for her, and you see the joy on her face. Her first time under 53 seconds as Jones has to settle for second in 53.6. Anna Cockrell looking like she's going to be on that team.
I told you she had a lot of energy bottled up.
There are special barriers that you break in the sport that make you really happy. And for Anna Cockrell to finally go sub 53, it's a big, big deal. I know we see 50 seconds, 51 a lot in this event, but 52 is big, 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 especially in a semifinal run. She looked really good right here. She had so much left in the tank. And when Jasmine Jones faltered, look at how she keeps her form and keeps the poise through the line.
Yeah, you can see veteran versus collegiate in this clearance of 10. See the difference? Anna Cockrell's been over that hurdle 10 with fatigue legs a lot more than Jasmine Jones, and that's why that was such an impressive clearance of 10, while Jones struggled just a little bit.
On the left of that shot there, Kayla Garrett with that effort in that semi was good enough to...